是移民博物馆，看看移民博物馆，移民故事展览，讲加拿大移民的。这哈法的博物馆还是挺豪华的，估计在大西洋这几个省里的哈法应该是算是博物馆，应该是最高大上的了。讲述新移民历史，这个博物馆还是挺有意义的。
At the very end of the building, there'd be a wee little cafeteria to grab a simple bite to eat before the train leaves. It's now where the Garrison microbrewing company is. So it has been cookie cutting. Answer for it. It's not data that was well kept. Nobody's really done the scholarship on it yet. In terms of how many folks are being sent back, there's 2 points I'll make. Number one, if you get deported from Canada, the shipping company is on the hook to make sure you get back safely, and they're paying the expenses. We have that a little measure in there from the very first immigration law Canada ever had. So companies have always wanted their passengers to have a good shot at being accepted. Anybody getting started? Questions? The mall is a good place to start for some context to the site because it has changed quite a bit. We are starting our tour in a men's washroom. Anybody want to hazard a guess as to what class this is? First. Believe it or not, this is an example of the lowest class on the ship. So again, depending on the time period. A lot of us have this idea of ocean travel based on things like Titanic and things like that, right? With the Great Depression, in the 1930s, immigration to Canada slammed shut. Immigrants in third class, that was a huge amount of revenue for the shipping companies that they lost. They turned to cruising. Cruise ships today owe their existence. We have 104 ships on the wall there. It's not all of them. Those are the usual suspects that came most frequently. If you're looking for one and you don't see it on the wall, check with the researchers downstairs. They have hundreds more in catalogs. They may have only done 1 or 2 voyages here. When we He said his ship was more of a cargo ship, 3 levels to the beds, and he was lucky enough to get the top one. He said there were 2 inches between his nose and the water pipe going along the ceiling of the cabin. So every night he sandwiched it like this. And apparently every night when they turned the lights off, the rats would just slide a wall of doors out of the way and connect the ship to a bridge. So come on, take a look. If we have to, we'll take sick passengers and quarantine them in hospitals in Halifax. In the early years of the city, we would stick them out on an island behind McNabb's Island. Lawler's Island is where we had the quarantine facilities for many years in Halifax. Not a great place to go. I will also mention, if any of you have the new Canadian passports, the photo in the top left is in your passport now. It's page 1617, and I love it. Because it's a great shot of the Berlin coming into dock. You can see the building. If I can just look on through here, we are standing right about here. In terms of first impressions, how do you think folks are going to be feeling stepping in here?
Relieved.
You're relieved? Anything else? Scared? Was not air conditioned. So you can imagine how warm it is in the summer, how cold it is in the winter. It's a lot of waiting around for that stamp document. It varies. I've talked to some people that remember being here for an hour. Most folks, several hours. It depends how many people are being processed. Yeah. It could be all day.
这是欧洲踏上哈利法克斯的这第一个移民办公室的这桌子呀。当年的第一批移民登陆哈法就是在这儿获批的。所以说这个是一个老牌移民国家，知道它的文化里基因里都刻着移民，它不是单一民族的那种，它跟欧洲不一样，本身就是移民组成的一个国家。所以还有很多的，比如说我们这一代人的朋友的父母还认为这个，比如说外国人怎么对中国人不好，或者说是那是别人的地盘，其实它就是一个移民构成的国家。在他的博物馆里，处处都讲着新移民和老移民的故事。看到这个老照片了吗？这个照片上的这个照片墙上画的就是第一批欧洲登陆加拿大的移民，他们眼神中充满了期待，就像今天的好多从中国移民的朋友一样。看着一双双充满期待的眼神，充满未知的对新生活的期待的眼神。看这段写的 excitement, apprehension and fear were the constant companions of some newcomers. Until you received an official landed immigrant stamp, you could still be denied. Most immigrants had no problem, but some were held back until health issues were resolved, or proof of sponsorship or employment was provided. 所以说啊，自古以来，这个加拿大这个移民就是健康第一位的，然后就是有人资助你在这儿能活下来，再有就是或者你被雇，这不就是今天的这个雇主担保、团聚移民还有体检吗？底下这是一段波兰移民的，在1950年写的，大家可以看看。说是 Every morning they would open the door and let us out, and every night, I think 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, they would lock the doors, and our room faced the railroad tracks. Tears running down our face, seeing all these people getting on their trains and going, and we were still there, and we were here for 3 months.
This guy 2.5 times longer. We had to widen it for wheelchair access. It would have been a bit more narrow historically. The bench is the right size. The bed's the right size. That's a bed for 2 people. Ooh. And it's not really a bed. It is a sleeping platform. It's wood. If you want a mattress or a blanket or a pillow or a curtain, you must rent it from the railway at extra cost. Yeah. The benches could fold together too and make a lower sleeping platform. So the plan is to the lower.
dans mon pays, malheureusement, on vit un conflit armé depuis plusieurs années, plus de 50 ans. Et ça commence à toucher différents niveaux de la société. Alors, la famille, mon épouse était persécutée, était ciblée. Ils ont directement dit, vous devez quitter la ville dans une période déterminée de temps, sinon vous allez être assassiné.
The situation in my country was not good, financially, security-wise, and at that time I was a single mother. So I came to Canada looking for a better future for me, but mainly for my son.
We went out when it was still many different Soviet Union, and You can't read what you want to read. You can't tell what you think you think. And I didn't like it. To teach my children, shut up and don't talk. Yeah. And teach them to lie all the time.
I born stateless with no citizenship. When I came to Canada, I applied refugee as a Palestinian refugee from Lebanon and as a distinguished talent person of a sport of wrestling, as a wrestling champion.
To be honest, like I've always wanted to be in Canada since I knew that I was gay. We are gay people and we are fighting for something that is illegal in Pakistan and there's a death penalty for that.
On retombe en amour avec une Québécoise, je trouve que c'est une bonne motivation de quitter son pays pour venir vivre avec sa douce.
I didn't want to go to Vietnam. It was that simple. I was against the war and I didn't want to go because I always felt it was a wrong war.
My wife and I studied abroad and we learned a different worldview abroad. And we wanted to give our son a good opportunity to be exposed to that kind of worldview.
Mais j'ai choisi de venir ici et puis vivre une aventure en tant qu'étudiante. Donc il y avait des défis, c'est-à-dire s'éloigner de la famille, le climat. Le bilinguisme aussi m'a attiré et puis le fait que ça soit proche avec les États-Unis, c'est vraiment aller découvrir l'autre côté de la Terre.
It was a long process. Actually, I guess it took us 5 years to complete that process. And several times I thought, is this the right thing to do? Is this the right thing to do?
There's so much happening during that time frame that you're preparing to go when you take a decision, you know what, I'm going. That when finally it comes, it feels like it's too soon, it's too fast, or I guess you always have that doubt that am I making the right decision?
I left Vietnam on a boat with many people, and before that I made many attempts to leave my country. I think 11 times, but the 12th time is the successful one.
I made a decision. I want to come here, and so when I made a decision, I quit all of what I am in China. That means I have no way to go back. So I made it very clear. I said, whatever happened, I will survive.
So there is this detachment feeling that is inside you that you feel because now you're losing. You feel like you're losing something, and then the harbor just disappears. And now what? You're all by yourself on this boat with your family.
Cette journée-là, ce matin-là, ma famille est venue m'ont accompagné à l'aéroport de Casablanca. C'était, il y avait un silence dans la voiture. C'était juste les yeux qui parlaient.
Now, the first time I ran to Canada was in '67, and I was stopped at the border in Vermont, Blackpool, because they said, well, how much money do you have? And I had $39, I remember. And they said, how do you expect to live in Canada on $39? I said, I don't know. Do you know anybody? I don't know anybody in the entire country, no. They turned me back.
C'est la première fois dans ma vie que je prends un avion. La première fois, à l'âge de 27 ans.
The captain announced there is some kind of emergency, so we cannot go to Canada, so all flights are directed to England. Who can forget that date? That was 9/11, September 11th, 2001. That was the day when we were at the Heathrow airport, flying from Pakistan to Canada.
Donc, arrivé à l'aéroport au Canada, à Toronto, puis je vois toutes les personnes qui étaient au guichet de différentes couleurs. Je voyais des personnes asiatiques, je voyais des personnes noires africaines, je voyais des personnes arabophones. Je dis wow.
So as soon as we landed at Toronto airport, that was amazing. The peace and the comfort I had in my heart, in my body, I cannot explain. I was just standing outside the airport, and I was just shivering like, oh my God. So finally we are in Canada.
We were given our land and immigrant papers, and that was it. Now, to me, it was amazing because once we were out of Pier 21, there it was. We could go anywhere, we could do anything. We had all the rights and privileges of every Canadian. And this had never happened to me before. We were always different.
When I first arrived in Vancouver, and I walked, how to say that, walked to the door, the automatic door, and the door was opening, and I was curious, let me breathe the air from Canada, okay? And I feel like, yeah, the sky is blue, and the air is so fresh. I feel like, okay, I'm in Canada now, it's different.
这面墙上啊，是后面的后人啊，为了纪念之前坐这个船登陆加拿大的新移民，开拓了加拿大各国政府组织，为了纪念他们所属的种族发过来的这个，算是纪念的一个牌匾吧。就是每一个移民的组成部分，每一个人种的组成部分都有。马耳他的，还有黎巴嫩的，英国的，很多。这个呀，得有时间细细的看了。NS 这段移民史。这个不是说半天一天能看完的，拉脱维亚的等等都有，还有澳大利亚的、希腊的，找半天没看到有中国的，可能是这个海岸离中国太远的原因吧。中国人到这边的太少了。乌克兰、伊朗应该是有中国移民的，不过这块没有发现有中国移民的这个使馆对这个早先移民的纪念。我估计在温哥华可能有，这边离中国有点远。以后有机会到温哥华的博物馆去看看。